I always say it's a community where even if you're not interested in reading, you're coming together for a conversation, you're coming together to meet with people, you're coming together to exchange knowledge, you're coming to support each other.
To build a community of readers, I looked around and nothing like this existed here. There are very few libraries here where people can just go and read.
And generally, translations have been a big part of my reading journey. Indian translations, Spanish, German, French.
They say when you Google, you get 10 options.
Yeah.
When you go to a library and ask a librarian, you get that one option which is the accurate option.
Yeah. Which book should you start reading Murakami with? Is it Kafka on the Shore? Is it Norwegian Wood? I would recommend Sputnik Sweetheart.
Okay.
Richard Osman absolutely loved it because because he's writing about community, about characters that normally don't get written about.
Hello Booknerds, welcome to the Booknerds podcast. This one is really special because this is a special roundtable podcast with some of the amazing book community creators and makers and managers, whatever you call them. And of course, first of all, I would like to thank Kunzum Bookstores for being our bookstore partner and venue partner, and Jivisa Wellness from the Himalayas for helping us out with this podcast. Thank you so much. And okay, on my left, first of all, Shibani Sethi,
Hello.
Who is director at GurgaonMoms.
That's right.
Absolutely. And she is conducting and curating, managing all these amazing sessions at GurgaonMoms. She has got a community of 42,000, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I lead the books community for
the books community.
Yes.
The books community. And of course, she has got loads and loads of experience from her corporate life, and she's much more than that. You'll know her better during the podcast. Rachna, Kalra, who is an amazing publishing professional. She has worked with all the biggies from Penguin to Harper, everyone, consulted with almost all of them. And she also helps out, authors and promotes books. So cool. That's absolutely needed. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And Arunima, whom we have, found on Instagram, and we had to bring her out of her shell from her amazing world of Dokusha book club. Hope I'm pronouncing it right.
That's right.
It's a Japanese translated books book club, and it's doing amazing. And I read an article about it. It was so nice, and immediately I was like, she has to be here. So guys, welcome to this roundtable.
Thank you.
We really want to bring perspective on how to create these book communities which you have created, and reaching out to so many readers, creating so many readers, which people underestimate the power of that. Of course, becoming a reader has got so many other repercussions, good repercussions. Also, we want to discuss in this podcast, like, what is it exactly? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it easy peasy? How is it to actually do these sessions or, manage this community online, offline, wherever? And more, of course. We would love to know about your favorite books, how you choose those books, which is very important. So all of these conversations are going to happen. And I would love if you could also ask questions to each other. That's always good. And we'll talk to each other, because I have also created a little community back in Dehradun, which has got like around 5,000 odd readers now. So we can always share notes, how to get better, how to create more communities and more cities. Okay, let's go from my left. Shibani,
sure.
First of all, what is the need of these communities? Because a lot of people who are not from this world argue that what is the need of such book communities, or for that matter, of course, it's a subsidiary of the GurgaonMoms universe, so as to say, but why the need of this particular community, and what are you doing to kind of make more awareness about this?
Okay, so thank you, Rohan and Booknerds, for having us on board. It is my first ever podcast, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's your debut.
Yes, it
What
is
about
actually
you?
my
have done?
debut.
No, I haven't done a podcast ever.
Seriously?
I've done
Yes.
a radio interview.
podcast.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
We all
Oh my God.
which is why I was
They're
very
not going to
pleased.
cut that out. It's so cool.
You may not.
It's so
It's
cool.
a first for all
Go
three.
for
of
it.
us.
Yeah. So let me just take you back before I answer your question. GurgaonMoms is a community of 42,000 women. It's a very vibrant community. It was created or built almost about 12 years ago. The offshoot of the community is the GurgaonMoms book club, actually.
Yeah.
I took over the book club from a dear friend of mine about a year ago. Actually, on the 14th of February, I actually will complete a year with the book club.
My wedding anniversary.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations
And
already.
Valentine's
Okay, so now we know what your stories
Not
have
mine,
been.
our.
Okay.
The co-founder.
Sorry, yeah, right. So coming back to this, so when I took over the books community, I took it up because of my love for literature. But again, I'll just go back to tell you that I have never led a books community until date. I am a corporate individual. I've worked with corporates, starting from hospitality to telecom to a space called Algebra Arts and Ideas Club. I also worked with a golfing firm. And all along, I always did think that my forte has been customer service and marketing.
Okay.
And when I got the opportunity to lead a books community for GurgaonMoms, of which I was a member for about 9 years, it's a 10-year-old community, or the book club, I really did not have a vision, but I did have a mission.
Okay.
Okay, and there is a difference in the same, because it was led in a certain fashion. There was this monthly book meet which used to happen, and on and off when there were publishing homes which got in touch with the book club, they'd host events, etc. So what was it that I wanted to do which would be different, because this is the only thing that I would be leading, and it was a pleasure to be amidst so many women and to be able to make a difference. If you ask me if I was stressed, the answer is absolutely not.
Okay.
If I knew what I was getting into, yes and maybe no. But what I wanted to do was an absolute yes. So I believe that the book club, which I like to call as a books community and absolutely not a book club, is actually built on a foundation of 4 key or keywords, which is knowledge, which is inspiration, which is connections, resources, and support.
Wonderful.
That is a thought that I had in my mind, and I come in this space because I believe that from the marketing perspective, it is a very, very key thing to know and to have.
Absolutely.
Coming back to why I decide, and I always introduce myself as somebody who leads a books community and not a book club, is because the moment you say you're leading a book club, it is assumed that you are people who are, and I've heard this many times over, oh, you're an intellectual, you're always reading books. The point is that I'm trying to divulge or get out of the fact and divulge to you that the book club is actually not only about reading. So then I said, okay, I'm never going to introduce myself as a book club, even though my business card says book club. I always say it's a community where even if you're not interested in reading, you're coming together for a conversation, you're coming together to meet with people, you're coming together to exchange knowledge, you're coming to support each other, you're coming to connect with people, and eventually, in the midst of all of this, there will be a book that you may pick up, you will take home, which will lie in front of you, and you will do that on and on and on, and then someday it will come to you and you may just pick it up and read. And therefore, for me, the books community is relevant, it's important, it is built on a foundation of these key words that I mentioned to you, and I believe that the only way this books community will run, it is as young as 10 years, as I told you, but in 1 year, people know about it, and I've built it up the way, with support from, of course.
It was 10 years old.
It is 10 years old, but in 1 year, I have built it up. I'm talking about the books community. The books community,
it's a compliment.
Oh, yeah.
I felt that it was 10 years old.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because the way it has been projected.
Yes.
And you guys will also kind of, vouch for this, that it doesn't look like an, such a raw and young community. Because it has got maturity, the kind of authors that are coming in, the kind of members, I have to attend it to kind of pass my judgment. But I believe that if everything is going smooth, there will be more and more mature readers coming in.
Oh yeah, of course.
It happens with time, because even when we started, it was the same way. There were a bunch of, very sort of some non-readers and some just who were just in inception. So, but then again, we picked simpler books because of that, and then now we have the audacity to kind of pick up Japanese literature or something more, which has more gravitas. Amazing.
So, yeah.
Why haven't you done a TEDx yet? Like that was a complete TEDx.
Inshallah,
have you done it?
I will someday. If you're saying it, I'm manifesting it.
TEDx people just get her right now. TEDx Gurgaon, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What kind of speakers do you have?
Is that really coming on?
Goodness, that is coming on.
I don't know if I answered your question, but in short, this is what I think.
No, this is
I think
I mean,
marketing in books community
getting all
is the
sorts
key.
of people. ऐसे लोग को बुलाओ यार. So great, Rachna.
Yeah.
With a little context, because Silent Book Club, guys, it is functional in Delhi NCR, and Rachna has adapted it from the international variant or the original.
No,
book.
so I've been in publishing for a very, very long time. This year, in fact, February, I complete 2 decades in publishing.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Why isn't there a party? Why isn't there a party? Why not?
Right after this podcast. No, the grey hair goes with,
It's
with
absolutely
publishing.
Amazing.
So,
she reminds me
2
of
decades
Storm.
or the white hair?
Storm from X-Men.
Okay, all right. That's a very interesting visual. So I run in addition to my consultancy that I have, in which I help authors and publishers market and promote specific books, what we call, it's called Windword. I also run Silent Book Club, which is part of a global community, and they now have over 500 chapters globally in different cities across the world. So I actually came across this, and the idea came to me because I used to read a lot with my cousin's daughter, and she'd always tell me that she wanted to come over. Her favorite thing to do would be to come over, spend an afternoon in which we'd order pizza and just read together. So I really, we did that a couple of times, and I really enjoyed that, and I happened to come across Silent Book Club. I thought it was a wonderful idea, because while I love the idea of book clubs, for me, I found them sometimes to be a little too structured. There were times when, I wasn't particularly interested in a book, and you reach a certain age where you are very sure about the kind of books that you want to read. You want to know what else is happening, but you may not necessarily want to spend time reading a book that may not be of interest to you.
And niche book clubs are difficult to find.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's everyone reads differently. Everyone, the kind of books that they read may be very, very different. The genres that they find are very interested. But to me, this just seemed like a very natural thing to do, to build a community of readers. I looked around and nothing like this existed here. There are very few libraries here where people can just go and read. That entire culture of cafes and books doesn't really exist. Like if you go to Europe or Paris, you go to Europe, you go anywhere, you have enough people, metros, trains, but that just didn't exist. So I thought it would be interesting to create a space for people where they could just come and read, especially introverts, because they have a hard time fitting into a community. They have a hard time communicating. This also gives them an opportunity to start a conversation on something that they're comfortable with. And again, the idea of it was to give everyone freedom to read what they want to in a space without any kind of pressure. So I started this in 2019, and we had a really
the pandemic.
We had a really good response, and then of course the pandemic happened. We did do virtual meets for a while, but then obviously virtual for this kind of a thing where you don't really have discussions was difficult. We had 2 adorable youngsters from Darjeeling who would attend every book club, and they still, you know, they still feel very sad that we are no longer doing this virtually. Restarted in 2021-22, and since then it's picked up. We have about 700 to 800 people who've registered, and we do this once a month, and we collaborate with a venue space, with a partner. We do this once a month, and typically we have on an average about 50 people. And there are some regulars, there are people who come as and when they can, and I think most of them enjoy this entire flexibility. We don't allow any promotions. So, you know, I mean, there's a whole lot more that I can get into, but I think we'll move over to...
With this format, promotions can really hamper the format.
Yeah, I think people are very comfortable, and the moment you start promoting something, it turns into something very commercial. So, you know, it's not something that we want to
I mean, it can be a banner promotion, that is fine.
See, what we do is...
Can't be intrusive.
Yeah, so what we do is whenever there is anything interesting around books, or if there is somebody who's a member of the book club who is helping to put together a literary festival in their society. So when it's something like that, we just put it out saying this is a member who's doing this, anyone interested can go.
Got it.
But no specific authors or titles or anything like that. In fact,
or like brands.
We've stayed away from that clearly. We may get into that, but then there will be disclaimers. You know, if you look at doing some kind of an event or something. But we want to keep this sacrosanct, you know, this entire.
And Cubbon is also doing the same thing. It's
Cubbon
pretty similar.
is similar.
No, I mean with the brands. With
Cubbon Reads,
it's in Bengaluru.
So Cubbon Reads started last year, I think. So the Silent Book Club concept, I think there are these two ladies from the US who started it way back in, I think it was 2013, that long ago. I think Cubbon may have come across it, but it's not a very original idea in any case, and there's no...
say it's a...
No, and there's no, I mean, you know, there's no trademark on it in that sense,
They should have had it.
And to me, I think the more people who get other readers to read,
I know, it's,
you know, it's always welcome. So there's no competition there in that sense.
Unless they are not kind of branding it and whatever, it's fine. Just like the humans of that thing, the controversy.
Bombay.
So
right.
I do.
But they were commercializing it, so that's why the original founder came in.
No, even at our book club, I do tell.
Entirely.
Oh, okay.
No, even at our book club, I tell people that if you're looking to read more regularly, where you just want to come and go, there is Lodi Reads. So I do tell them about it. I told them about Arunima's book club also.
But you are a very cool person then. Not everybody does that.
No, but the whole idea behind me starting this was to get people back into reading.
Right, likewise.
So that's the whole idea. So it doesn't matter where they're reading. To me, even if I have 5 people coming, I'm okay because I get to read, I get to meet.
I'll be talking about those days as well in a bit. I'll talk about those days. The 5 and 2 readers, and sometimes even no readers. I'll be talking about that because those are the tough days.
I think it's happened at one when Arunima was also there.
Yeah, well, not when I was, when I started, but earlier.
But that was because they went to the other venue.
Okay, let's go to Arunima. And of course, that article, I don't know which newspaper. I found it, I think...
Indian Express.
Indian Express, yes. Indian Express. That was just got me, and I started reading up, and
Thank you, like, Indian Express.
Amazing article, and that's how kind of we got to know about you. And tell us more about this Japanese book club, which came out of nowhere. And has taken up attention in this region at least, and beyond also.
I hope so. So to be honest, I did not have this in mind that I want to build a community. Quite frankly, I've not marketed the book club at all. It all started in December 2022. I think I was taking a break from work for a bit, and I've read a fair bit of Japanese literature in the last 10 years. Not when I was a kid, but and generally translations have been a big part of my reading journey. Indian translations, Spanish, German, French. I'm a literature student. And I've worked in publishing for a bit. So there also translations, generally I'm very attracted to you know, any good story which has been translated from any other language. Why Japanese fiction, I'm not sure. It was something that I was generally inclined towards, and I realized that there is no community, so to say, for Japanese literature, fiction or non-fiction.
Maybe in a very confined sort of private way, but
yeah, I mean, I
not
know,
in a public space.
Yeah, I know of a lot of authors and readers who read a lot of Japanese fiction, classic Japanese fiction and contemporary, but there's no community. I have not come across any, especially in India. So I thought, okay, let's just do this, and I was bored and I started it, and we've just completed a year this January.
Wonderful.
And we have about 450 registered members.
Wonderful.
Which is really great, because then when people were registering for it, they were expecting me to be a know-it-all on Japanese literature, which I'm absolutely not. I am myself a reader, and I think I love being part of communities like the Silent Book Club or Lodhi Reads, because I am myself learning. I think I'm still learning.
Isn't that a misconception though? Because every time someone comes up to me, they are like, you must be the most amazing superhuman reader.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
I am just the community creator. There are much better readers in our community. Can you share an example of that? Maybe we can start with Shibani. Have you met someone who has kind of, taken you aback? Ki yaar, ye to matlab, oh my God.
I just
Somebody
mentioned,
like that?
they I've had trouble now, and this never happened before, because algebra was very different to GurgaonMoms, and I'm very grateful to GurgaonMoms to give me this space. But now and of late, everywhere I go, you end up discussing books and interesting reads because you're reading. So, normally when people are having a conversation, it's the space that you work in and you're passionately driving. And more often than not, I've actually been told, oh, so you're the intellectual, we can't talk books. And I'm like, excuse me? But no, I'm not the intellectual. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to learn from you. And I'm not even reading as many books, unfortunately, now, because I'm busy getting people for you to get you to read. And I would love to read, I walk into a book every day. Which means that every day when I go home, there's a book which is received at my home, which is a number of books I'm either being sent to read because I'm going to be launching an author, or it's something that I may have bought and it's reached my home every day. So my helper actually turns around and says, "Itni kitab padhoge to budde ho jaoge."
That happens.
But I want to tell her I want to read, and I want to tell those people who call me intellectual, please, I would love that. But the truth is, you may be reading more than I am. But that took me aback.
That's so true.
And shout out to before you start, it's like telling Ajay Jain that have you read all these books?
Exactly. Absolutely.
He is also creating a community. He has been doing for the longest time. Shout out to him, because he was supposed to be here. He is busy at Pragati Maidan. But
for the book fair.
Ajay, we miss you. He's our collaborator. So I have to say good things.
And you're going to say that too.
He's just so amazing, as a collaborator. Anyways, you were saying.
No. So in fact, Kunzum is one of the places where I run my, organize my book club meets in the summers. So they've been really, really wonderful.
See, both in Gurgaon and in
In fact, we
so it's just been easy. Yeah, it's just been very easy because Ajay has just been so open to trying out new things and giving us the space.
This podcast.
Giving the space.
And likewise, GurgaonMoms has collaborated with Ajay. He was, I think he was our first partner when I got into the space. And of course, he was in conversation, but at that point in time, I think we had taken a break during COVID. Kunzum is great that way. Everything.
This has been a great catalyst for communities in Delhi NCR.
But that's also because he's driving it as passionately. You've seen the way he's been talking communities for the longest time, as you rightly said. And
every second day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Every second day. I'm like Ajay, of course on LinkedIn as well. But he's in a very good way. He's such a book beast. I am inspired by that. He's like, "Main to bolunga." And I will say whatever I feel like, and you can think whatever you want to, and that's needed in this day and age. That's why I wanted the community builders to be here. Say their mind out, whatever they feel. If they don't like something, it's fine. The publishing industry should listen. Why not? You need to take notice. They are now, but 5 years back, they were not taking notice.
I think we all, collectively, not just us as individuals or publishers or anything, everyone needs to invest in building readers.
Yes.
I mean, otherwise you're just, there are like thousands and thousands of books being published every day, but where's the next generation of readers?
I think publishers have been very kind to me. I've collaborated. So ours is more like a knowledge sharing platform also, where we share a lot of news about what's happening with the authors, who's written something new.
Do you do newsletters also?
I would like to start soon, like a literary magazine.
I think we'll come to that later.
About
the challenges,
yes. The challenges and everything,
yeah.
But I think with what I also try and do, I earlier thought that, okay, the members that we have in the book club, I would like to provide them with a copy of the book to read. But then there were logistical issues. But publishers have been very kind to do giveaways. So we did at least, I think, 4 or 5 giveaways last year. And the audience was very happy. You know, they were very excited about doing it. Yeah, who was not happy, but the publishers have come forward on their own and asked me that, okay, would you like to do a giveaway? And I've been very fortunate like that something I'm able to offer and give back to the registered members. Yeah. Thank you.
We have been really after their lives for 8 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
That is true.
What is it that you've done?
We have pioneered this in some ways, that when we started back in 2015, there was little or nothing.
Yeah.
Nothingness.
Yeah.
I saw it in Hoskas. I'm just using it here. It was written on the wall, nothingness. There was nothingness. And there was no semblance of communities. So we were just doing our own thing in Dehradun, and there were like bunch of 15-20 people, and we would get together every Sunday and discuss a single book. And that's how it started. And when we completed like 2 years, then all of a sudden, when we started posting online also, along the way, and a couple of authors also started coming in, then they kind of started taking us seriously. Like, inko books bhejna padega. It's going to be sort of, it'll get more eyeballs. Yeah. Whatever. It could be a traditionally published or indie published, whatever. So, self-praise over. But
but I also interesting perspective.
I also do encourage the readers to, when I'm not doing a giveaway, for example, and I want them to read the book, I do tag all the indie bookstores that we have, including Kunzum, of course, to go and get their copy from the local bookstore that they have. Rachna books, Blossoms in Bangalore, Delhi has so many, of course, Bombay,
everywhere.
Chandigarh has a Bahari Sans, and Browser has been there forever. So I always try and encourage so that they at least know. They can write to them, they can DM them thanks to Instagram. They're very responsive these days.
They are responsive because everybody is catching up. Cool. Let's talk about books.
Okay.
The most important thing, and then we'll go on to the members later.
Yep.
First of all, how is the process, the selection of books? If it's not a particular format, like book club format, then how you guys working? Are you looking at just authors and then you kind of select the books? How is that working in particular cases? Because everybody is different, and
So I'll start again. Like I told you, GurgaonMoms is a platform of 42,000 women. It's led by Neela Kaushik, who lives in Boston. And I will tell you about when we were discussing these questions yesterday, what an interesting perspective she gave me. But coming back to this, how we shortlist books, so I'd like to call it a reading advisory. Well, that's just a name I form now as I'm talking to you.
Why not?
So what we do is that this offshoot of the community is the books GurgaonMoms Book Club, where we constantly post our recommendations. So if I read a book, I will write about a book, and every month we pick up a book to read.
Okay.
The intent, of course, is to read easy breezy books because you want more people to come in. And I am very delighted to share that we've gone up from a mere 5 to 9 readers on an average to 150.
Wow.
It goes up to that, and that's what I said. Rohan, one is about books and reading and creating the communities, but one is marketing that space, which is a non-commercial piece. But if I'm not going to be talking, you've seen the pictures. Have you ever seen them before? Have you ever seen me before? Have you seen? So I put pictures of everybody who comes in, and you'd be amazed at the new mothers who are coming. They want to have adult conversations. The youngsters, single mothers, single ladies who are coming and said, oh, there is a book club I didn't know until now because I saw a photograph. And because there is a paucity of libraries, which I picked up, and I think this is what Neela was saying, that she's reading a lot more in Boston where she lives now because of the access to libraries. Not everybody can pick up a book because it's expensive. So at one point in time in this book club, we had there was a limit. So you couldn't go beyond 400 or 500 rupees.
It gets beyond.
But then the best books these days are expensive. So the point is that, yeah, we have a reading advisory, which I like to call. So we go back to our book recommendations, which are made in the community. Then I go back to our older book readers who've been constantly or regularly attending these meets, and then we shortlist a book and we read it. But every month there is a book.
Wonderful.
Our book this month is Hello Beautiful by Anne Neapolitan. I am sorry I can't pronounce her surname, but it's a beautiful book we're reading this time. I've got it, I think.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Awesome. That's a good format. That's a pretty democratic format.
Yes, absolutely.
What about you guys?
In our case, of course, it's very different because it's a BYOB. So everyone gets the book that they want, but it's really lovely because what we've also started doing is because we wanted to keep that community engagement. Now we take pictures of everyone with their books. We create a reel out of it that also works as a recommendation. So, we do a quick round of intros at the beginning in which you just tell your name and the book that you're reading. And instead of people scribbling it down, noting it down, things like that, once we create that reel, people know. And a lot of time there are conversations after that. So there is no selection. But a lot of times we do find that the next time.
Right? But this is your list.
This is our.
This is no? Like all the books that were.
That I used to put up on Facebook earlier, but now.
But people are smart.
So they're free to get any book they want.
They're free to get any book.
BYOB.
Okay. It's a BYOB. It's a BYOB. So people come.
They can't bring that.
No, unless we're doing it at my first
reading club.
Unless it's at Sidecar.
Another format.
No, my first meetup started at Sidecar.
Oh, nice.
So there you can order wine, you can order whatever you want, right? But obviously when we do it in winters at Sundar Nursery, there you get your little lemonade, you get your... you can get your coffees and things like that.
So is there a duration for the read or how?
So what we do is we do a quick round of introduction. So we start at 11. We wait till about 11:30, typical Delhi standards or Gurgaon standards. People come in by 11:30. We do a quick round of introductions, like I said, the name and the book that you're reading. Sometimes people like to talk a little more. And then I set a timer for 1 hour. And I tell everyone to put their phones off, or if they're reading on their phones, then I tell them to put them on flight mode. And so then for 1 hour. But a lot of people then, they're free to, once the 1 hour is over, people are free to leave, they're free to talk to each other, they're free to move away to another corner and continue reading. And with places like Sundar Nursery and all, it works. With places like Kunzum, it's really nice because people can also go
off. It's like
especially if they've seen a book that they want to then, which they also want to pick up, at a bookstore, it's easier. So it's just, it's very, like I said, informal in that sense.
Very nice.
But that 1 hour is a given. That is the set timing. That is dedicated. It does in Sundar Nursery. People make a they do make a whole picnic out of it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it could be. You could be having your tea and coffee and reading a book.
That's what they do. I mean, I take pictures. It's just really lovely.
Cool.
And
So we have a set time too. We have 2 hours, and 2 hours we've read the book obviously because we read that one book, and that 2 hours is dedicated to perspectives. And then you order whatever because we're typically doing it at either at Kunzum or at a space which is a restaurant which is silent. But in 2 hours, it's all about perspective. It's a safe space. You discuss whatever you'd like. You have a perspective. You have one. I may not have liked the book or whichever way it works. We're not judging. We just want to hear you, and we want to hear more of you, and we want more of you. And that's really the focus.
Exactly. I've had people just bringing in, like I'll have somebody this month, and next month they'll be like, I dragged my mother to this.
Wonderful.
And then the mother will be like, I really enjoyed it, I'm going to come back. There we have kids sometimes. It's
all
just
sorts
lovely.
of people.
Great. We have people who try and get more of their friends or who spread the word.
I think that's great. I mean, because then it's a sense of that this space is safe as well. So it brings in that. Great. What about you? How did it kind of, has the format changed from the beginning, and what is the format in particular? Like you said that it's a knowledge space. But whenever you have had the meetup, what's the format? How do you kind of, conduct it?
So we've had one offline meetup last year in Kunzum GK, where we collaborated with the Japan Foundation, and Siddhartha Gigu was in conversation with me. typically we introduce one book every month. Initially, the books were the books that I had read earlier, and I would. The idea is also not just to introduce them to the Japanese authors, but also to the translators. I think they do a brilliant job, from Philip Gabriel to Lucy North to Sam Bett, David Boyd. So many of them, they're less talked about, because a lot of times you'll see that the translator's name is not even there on the book cover. There are still
most
books
of the times,
that are published in India and outside of India where the translator's name is not there. So my intention is to also introduce them that who is bringing you this text that you are reading today in English.
It's a kind of BTS, kind of behind the scenes kind of.
Sort of. Yeah. But apart from that, I try and catch on to trends also. Like, for example, in 2020, Pushkin Press started publishing these Honkaku novels written by Seiji Mizo in 1930s. And those kind of came back into vogue, and they were publishing a lot of them. I think they've published, 5 of them so far. And the Honkaku as a concept, I wrote a piece about it, was very interesting. They're murder room mysteries. So the murder happens in a locked room, and you don't know who the murderer is, and the whole thing. They're very traditional, very I'd say very archaic sort of writing, not very contemporary. So you may not be, it won't be like, oh my God, that's that. But for the sake of literature, for the sake of Japanese literature, you should read them, and they're doing pretty well now. Penguin brings them to India with a license, of course. And that's been my usual, classics.
So there are no comic books here, or there are comic
There's
books
one manga book. So they've actually adapted Kafka's short stories, novellas, into manga very recently.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
do we have it here?
I think Kunzum has it.
Kunzum should have it.
Kunzum has a good
I'm buying that.
Yeah, David Yang is the translator.
Okay.
And he actually, I had a chat with him on email, and he said that, to translate German into English and then into Japanese. It's like a hybrid translation. There are 3 languages involved, which is really fascinating to me.
It's for you.
Yeah,
but it sounds quite a task.
No, it's actually because, and also to kind of make
you are
the
a translation nerd.
No, I'm not actually. There are many other people who are great.
Intellectual in her.
No.
आपसे तो और होंगे definitely, but you have a thing for it.
I have a thing for it. I personally, I love going into the whole process and understanding what it means to translate a text, because I think for me as a Bengali, I don't know how to read Bangla that well, or to even write Bangla, and I miss that. But when I hear stories in Bangla that my grandmother used to read out from Shanunda, that was very fascinating to me. But my access to Bengali literature is through English.
Wonderful.
So yeah. Have I digressed? Sorry, what was the question?
Exactly, that was the question.
The selection, how do you...
The selection, so some book that's trending, for example, and then I do a giveaway. Then one book that came back into this film, Jaane Ja by Kareena, which had Kareena Kapoor Khan, Shujoy Ghosh's, I think.
Yes.
So that was adapted from The Devotion of Suspect X, and that's an old book.
So when you knew that the Netflix series...
The film is recent, but it was
they've changed the plot a little. It's not a complete adaptation, but they stick to the whole. So then I brought that book back and I did a giveaway that people should read it, because it's a very readable book, very good book.
The timing is also important.
The timing is very important. So I catch on to the trends and all of that. For example, Seiji Ozawa, he's a Japanese conductor. He passed away, I think, a couple of days back. And Haruki Murakami had written a book with conversations with him, because Murakami himself is a Western classical music nerd. And he
Which one is that?
It's called Absolutely on Music.
Okay.
I think, And I had reviewed that book long back in 2017, I
इसके बारे
think.
में ज़्यादा पता नहीं है लोगों को.
It should come back. I mean, I posted on my stories, but then I should have done a bigger post.
I have a question. How do you keep track of all that's happening in Japanese literature?
So there's a trick to it. I have Google alerts.
Oh, nice.
But it's put in the Google alert?
All keywords: Japanese literature, Japanese films, Japanese anime, Japanese manga,
That's a good trick.
Japanese books.
We are going to do that.
I get news every day, and then
that's also good.
I get news every day in my inbox, and then I filter out stuff, and then I put out the stuff that I want, and I give credit to whichever publication, Nippon or Japan Times.
Awesome.
You know, just on Google, sorry, I'm going to just take this because I heard it somewhere. They say Google, when you Google, you get 10 options. When you go to a library and ask a librarian, you get that one option which is the accurate option. So just on that, when you say Google,
that is true.
Lack of library.
No, this is the keyword thing because Google is kind of...
We're not going there today. Not at all, because it will take another podcast.
Of course.
This works because Google picks up the keyword, and then I get random articles. Like there was a South Indian film called Japan. It picked up that also, and it had nothing to do with Japanese literature.
But there is a South Indian film.
Yeah, no. So I filter out.
Well,
I mean, I get
Love in Tokyo.
Oh yeah, Love in Tokyo.
Correct.
Yeah,
I know. It's tricky. It's just like AI, right? If you I mean, a lot of people are writing, even on LinkedIn, you know, people are writing with AI, So, in fact, this is from the team, and we were supposed to write a caption, and somebody from the team, they didn't have time, okay, and sometimes you don't, and they just, chat GPT, and they came up, so chat GPT created a new author for the book, because it is only till 2021, right?
Yeah.
And this book is new.
Not that
from 2023. So they created a new author, created an entire bio, created an entire caption, book description, and all set. And she posted it on Instagram. And I was like, I got a call, Neha got a call from the author. And she, this is not my name.
I'll tell you why that happens, because AI doesn't create, AI reproduces.
Yeah, so something,
Yeah, but look at this is a disaster.
It's disaster.
So if you fed AI
and
with only international authors,
so I have not
create international authors.
I should say this, but I don't know the technology front yet.
Okay.
And I think it still makes a lot of difference to just speak.
The what?
Sorry.
I'll try.
So AI, and I know this recently because Apupan, the graphic novelist, has come up with a new book, and his book is on AI and how, art and writers.
Crazy. He's crazy.
Who?
Serious. The Apupan, I mean,
no, he's fascinating.
Crazy in the sense, in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
He's fascinating.
So he actually told me that AI reproduces. It doesn't create anything. So whatever you feed AI with, for example, right now AI has been fed with Dolly, the art thing.
That's why the whole copyright.
They've been fed with the Michelangelos and Picassos of the world. So whatever art you want, they'll take that form, break it down into million pixels, and create a new art for you. If you put I don't know, Jatin Das, probably, they will not be able to pick it up because it's not been fed into the system.
Yes.
So AI will, even for authors,
Very
if I put T.D. Ramakrishnan or a Perumal Murugan, probably I won't get it.
Yeah.
And which is why it creates and gives it a completely new meaning.
Yes. So they didn't know it. So I told them, I had a meeting. And I told them, please don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Just go by on this thing. Okay, you were saying something about it.
No, I just believe, so I'm the challenge in the books community is I'm technologically challenged. So I haven't accessed chat GPT or AI yet.
That's a good thing in this era.
Yeah, but now I figured when people are writing, there are some words which they're using very often. So I now know that this is not their original writing, because when you're reading so much of the same thing, like the pictures, I've seen the pictures all look similar. They'll just be beautiful, but eventually it'll all be the same.
Yes.
So I think somewhere this is the problem I have, and in a way I think I'm happy that I am challenged, but I may be losing out on a lot of time because of that.
I don't think so.
And a lot of feeling.
Not too much.
I take so much time to write a feedback about an event. And I keep thinking, what is it that I want to write? Because it should feel, and it's a sense of belonging, right? You're taking ownership of something of that sort. So it has to come across like that. Yeah. But if everybody was to use an AI, first I need to figure how to get there.
She has the best comments. I have screenshots.
Oh, you do?
Okay.
You do?
I'm not that crazy.
Okay.
But we have bonded over comments, and and it is just if you are writing with AI, you won't connect.
Yeah, I have to first connect to AI to connect.
I mean, it's very tough. Okay, let's go on to some of your favorite books, and then we'll talk about everything else that's going on. Oh, let's talk about the challenges first, and then at the end we'll talk about books. What are the challenges you are facing? Like, is it? Yeah, let's go from Shibani. With Shibani.
You are. Arunima.
Are you facing any challenges, or everything is?
See, in my mind, if I say that there is a challenge, there will be a challenge.
Okay.
I never got into this space with a challenge or feeling challenged, so I don't feel the challenge. Like I said, for me, Rohan, there is nobody who doesn't feel challenged. If you talk to all three of us, we're going to say the readers are decreasing. There is no time. there is social media, there's OTT, and then there is women who are constantly multitasking. And while there is an intention to read, they don't have the time. But my belief is that if I am talking about a space that exists and I say it's a safe space, please come. Even if you haven't read, come and hear a conversation which will entice you to read. I think my challenge is, I have no challenges.
Download something good.
I am very clear, if a community has gone up from a 10 to 15 to 150, obviously we've done something right. And the right is, the more you talk about it, the more you get people together, the more, even if you don't put these caveats saying please read and come, you must have read that book, you should have read it, otherwise it doesn't make sense, then you will have more and more people, and I'm seeing that.
Caveats are,
they are, because it was always the thing.
My book club, that's why we don't, it's like I said, very open, very flexible and all. My biggest challenge is time. I'm the one who runs it. I do everything, the social media, the creatives,
likewise,
everything. So it's only now that we've, after such a long time, that we managed to create a WhatsApp group and create a link for people to join.
Alone.
I also do everything alone.
Everything.
With support from Neela, of course, who runs.
No, so I'm doing everything on my own. I just got an intern, and my first thing to her was, we have all these emails. We need to, create a WhatsApp group because that's the easiest way of communication. Only admins are allowed to post on it, because we realized at the beginning that it was turning into this community of just random exchanges. But also from the creatives, for the posts, for, even if you wanted to promote any, initially we did have to promote, right? Because to build that community.
Well, the city isn't easy.
Yeah, and then, so I'm one person, I would like to do this more frequently. I would ideally want to do this once a week. But because it's just me and I don't have the time, I'm limiting it to once a month. I'm not expanding, I'm not looking at any, different kind of formats, like a wine and reading kind of an evening, or any collabs with even publishers or anything like that. I'm not expanding it deliberately because I don't have the bandwidth. So, but otherwise, as Shibani said, I'm not thinking of it as a challenge, because I think from where I started to where I am now, obviously something is working, and we do have, a community that we have built.
Right. So it's a question of just repeating those steps over a period of time. Consistency. Right. That would be the key word, I suppose.
Also, I think, sorry, Rachna. Unlike in your case, which I think which you do single-handedly, while I do all of the getting the authors, speaking to them, putting things together, pieces together, even a script, because you have to read the book, and the only person who will read will be me, because I have to get on that stage to speak to him. But I do have in GurgaonMoms a team who's always there for support when the events happen. So, somebody is taking care. I'm not, because there's no time. Then there is no bandwidth.
That has to be there.
In my case, the problem is, like I have my next book club is on 24th. If I fall sick, it's very, very difficult. I do have a friend who's there and who's told me, and she's actually there with me for every each one of the meetups. So she is there as standby in case anything
But have you become the sort of identity of it all? You have become that.
Yes, I have.
Cool. I think that will change with time, because I'll share my experience after Arunima, of course. You are the one person doing everything right now. Right?
Yeah. I think for me also, I think time is the biggest challenge. I would like to put myself out there more, and I think I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of resources in terms of, knowing the publishers, because I've worked with them. But I don't know. I mean, I don't feel very comfortable showing my face,
unlike today.
This has been a challenge too. So when we did the offline event,
you are just doing just fine, just amazing.
I think it would encourage more people to come and join the community and be more interactive. If I also join that.
You are me back in 2016-17.
Probably, really? I don't know. I think
I was like that. I was completely like that for the longest time. Why? Because I thought that back when we did business in general, it was about the company, right? And everything was about the company and about the community.
Right.
So we used to stand back. Let it happen. Let everything happen. I was moderating sessions, But other than that, I was always in the background.
Yeah.
But suddenly we realized that everything has changed.
Yeah.
If people are buying from people, and that's something that has changed integrally.
Yeah.
So then we thought that we should, both of us, we should come forward with full force.
Yeah. No,
Neha didn't even have an Instagram account till last year.
No, and it's funny because I do personal branding.
I can't say much.
No, but for me, that was exactly, you know, I always prefer to be behind the scenes because I'm, you know, with authors and all, they're usually the ones on podcasts and things like that. But since I started consulting independently, I am the firm and the firm is me. So, you know, there has to be a face. So I have to, but again, it's been a slow process. And in fact, I wanted to come back to the other reason why I thought the Silent Book Club would work really well is because as a child, I was an introvert. And I used to find it very difficult to make friends and to really, you know, have a conversation in public and things like that. And books were the only thing that I was comfortable talking about. So I think somewhere that also got me to start this. I mean, it doesn't seem like I was ever an introvert now. I mean, I've changed.
Where do you think the nerd came from?
Well,
so we can associate Shibani is like,
yeah.
what the hell is wrong with these guys?
No, she's like, I can't think of Rachna as...
Have you been, have you always been like this?
Always.
Like, always?
I told you
I
before
was
we
an
started.
introvert. I was a
What about
complete
you?
introvert.
I feel that you could be in our tribe.
I'm not at all an introvert. I'm an
You're not.
extrovert.
Not your tribe, by the way.
No.
Not anymore.
No, I'm still an introvert.
I was never an introvert. I'm not an introvert. I just don't, I think I do personal branding for authors and for clients. But then when it comes to my own personal branding,
Then you are.
my friends abuse me all the time.
You're
and
socially awkward.
No, I'm not. On camera. Only on camera.
You don't give a...
No.
But
Okay.
I think all of us,
I'm an extrovert.
JLF.
But when it comes to you, you are not comfortable.
Yeah, when it comes to me, for example,
No,
if
I
I write
think
a book tomorrow, then I won't be marketing it for sure.
Okay.
I'll
I'm one of
market
those.
that. Listen,
Yeah, so
I'll market that for
I'll
you.
hire a publicist who will do that
Got
for
it.
me.
No, but I think we're the kinds, if we'll go to a lit fest, we'll go to any place and all, you know, we find it very awkward to take pictures with authors, or if we take them, then we just putting them out. Right? There was
I've
one
never put
picture
out a
that I
picture with
took
an
at
author.
JLF,
I don't
which
know why, but
really
I've never
loved.
done that.
It happens.
And but I still haven't put it out till my intern was like, no, you have to. So I said, okay, put it
And
in
who
the
was the
reel.
author?
So I actually took this wonderful picture with Richard Osman and Bonnie Garment
Oh.
together. It's right here on my
I
phone.
missed both. And I missed both.
And
I
she
had
loves them both.
I attended all of Bonnie Garment's sessions, and somebody asked me if I was doing a PhD on her because I love her so much. And I listened to everything. Either she was hosting it because she was asking questions, or she was being asked the questions. But I attended. She had 3 sessions, I think, and 3 or 4, and I attended
I couldn't
all
make
of
it,
them.
but I interviewed her last year in.
I'm not awkward taking
It's
pictures.
a fight.
So I got a picture with both
am
of
not
them
awkward
at
now.
the Harper party.
But
Put that
I
out
was like,
on
I was
social
really
media.
bad. I was really bad. Like this, you guys. I bumped into this amazing Booker Prize winner author at JLF in 2017, and I forget the name. An Afro-American. He won the Booker Prize that year.
Paul Beatty.
Yes, Paul Beatty. I
How
ran
can
into.
you forget it?
I forgot his name. Oh my god.
Edit.
How can you forget
it's
this?
fine.
This has to be edited.
No, but it's okay, which is why I also
Paul
I
Beatty-
forget these days. I
Paul
just
Beatty
forget.
is not my
I
neighborhood author.
forget
It's
Japanese
fine.
authors' names sometimes.
No, I get offended by
Then
when
you
I.
should only remember Ruskin Bond.
नहीं अगर मैं रस्किन बॉन्ड का भूल जाता तो फिर मुझे देहरादून में एंट्री नहीं मिलता so that I can't do. Indian authors if I forget ना I am really offended. I am just biased. But Paul Beatty was just standing there. Nobody would go up to him because nobody knew him.
Yeah.
And we knew him by face, and we had already read the book, and we just went up to him, and he was surprised because nobody was recognizing him. And then we forgot to click a picture.
Oh.
We forgot to click a picture. We just started talking to him. We forgot to take a picture. So we were like that. Back then we were fascinated so much. We just got in awe, and that's it. We are blank.
May I add something here? You know, I am not awkward taking pictures. I'm very clear. If I'm taking a picture with somebody, it's a compliment for the person because I'm giving. It's like a Bollywood or a Hollywood
Will you
star.
coach us?
I'll tell you. I'm just going to go back to the of course, for the fact that I've worked with a corporate space and I've never been awkward. But there is Algebra. So when I was a member with Algebra Arts and Ideas, every author, including Jeffrey Archer, by the way, I have a beautiful picture with him. I made sure I took the picture. So when I joined the team, I told Nina, who is to head that space, I said, make sure that every time an author comes, I am the first one to get that picture because it goes onto my social media. And I said, and you know what it did, Rohan? It got me more members.
Right.
Because please understand, everybody wants to know what I'm doing, and the moment they know that I'm doing this, they want to know how they become a part of it, and that's exactly what's happening in the community.
The only
problem also is I forget to take the pictures. I get so
that's the first thing I have in my mind.
The only picture with an author that has gone up on my Instagram feed is Perumal Murugan. Because Murugan sir is Murugan sir. I have not put any other picture with any other author. I think I have huge, and when we did work with him for Punachi back in Westland, that was when we got the picture, the book launch picture, and that was the only picture that I've put up.
But an author would be elated if you'd go up to him or her and say, listen, I want to take a picture because I read your book or I've heard about your book. You tell me that and I will say take 100 pictures.
So I think
but I hear what you're saying.
I forget half the time because I'm
you are like Swapna Little. She keeps forgetting everything. She writes about it also. Today I forgot to, ma'am, sorry. Today I forgot to click a picture, but tomorrow I'll try to remember and I click a picture. The next day, same post.
So all of JLF I didn't really like. I was just so busy attending sessions, meeting people.
I know.
Likewise, but I took pictures. I stopped Ajay Jadeja, and I just don't stop like that. So he may have walked right ahead, and I said, hey Ajay, as if he was a friend of mine, and he turned around because quite obviously he was calling him. And I said, hey, 1 second, I know you don't have the time, but I'll just take this picture quickly. And similarly with Amish, he was running in and I said, Amish, I have a couple of pictures with you because you came on algebra, but I need this picture for GurgaonMoms.
Oh yeah, he came for the Sita thing, right?
Brilliant.
I was coordinating that with my colleague.
Yeah, with his sister. His sister's fabulous.
Oh no, Bhavna, right?
Yeah.
We came earlier then. This was pre.
This was now, this time. I think it was a brilliant conversation, but I'm just saying on that, I'm not awkward and it helps us.
Awesome.
And like I said, it's not a commercial venture.
It's actually promoting the company or whatever organization in turn.
And listen, I'm
so
giving
tonight I'm posting that picture.
Please, yes. How could you not? I missed those two. Bonnie Gamas, I couldn't stand him. It's 150 people to take that signature and the photograph.
Mine was at the HarperCollins party.
So lucky.
That's what I wanted to know.
Oh God, I'm dying of envy.
You had access.
Okay, let's get on to my favorite part. It's the Booknerds podcast, and we have to discuss your favorite books right now or maybe all time, doesn't matter. Or for your book club, that also doesn't matter. We'll go with Rachna first and then go on to everybody else.
So I don't have any favorites. It's like saying which child is your favorite because every book that you love, there's something new. I just picked up books that were very, which were
lying around.
Lying in your book. So this is, and you'll also see that it's bookmarked with little ears. But so do you want me to talk about one book to begin with, or all the books, or how do you?
You can talk about a couple and then introduce everybody. Baki sab short mein kar lenge.
So I can talk about
the political and the biographies. Maybe you can club them together. Fiction could be
fiction. No, so let me start with childhood.
Okay.
So Anne of Green Gables. I was introduced to. So I used to be an introvert, and I used to read voraciously. Luckily, I was, I studied outside India. I was in international schools where we had, the schools had these fabulous libraries and librarians who would really understand the kind of books that you enjoyed reading, would introduce you to books, but would also slowly seed other kinds of books and things, because as a child who's growing, they wanted to introduce you to different genres and all also. But I remember reading this and then rereading it. It's a whole series. It's set at Prince Edward Island in Canada, and it just became so real to me, though it's set in a, many years ago. But I think the story of this young girl who's an orphan, the love, the friendship, family connections, all that. I mean, they're just so real, and I think the storytelling is fantastic. It continues to be a well-loved classic, and I think there was a Netflix series also that came out, but to me it's always books over movies.
Has to be.
But it's Anne of Green Gables series by Lucy Maud Montgomery.
Cool.
And that's
what else
one.
Do you have in your file?
Yeah, it's so I will talk about the book that I've just started reading, and I think the title says it all. I've just read Yeah, it's written by this journalist H. Pop is
pop stars. Oh my God!
Yes, yes. So I saw this on Insta. I saw some reviews and all. Yeah. So I found this very fascinating because I ended up reading a lot of books on politics, political history, democracy. I mean everything, and especially current affairs. Where we are today, and I thought this is a very interesting take. Nobody's really written about this earlier. I can't tell you much about it because I've just started it, but so far it's flowing really well. It's very, very fascinating. Makes me want to go back and actually look up these pop stars. It's a very interesting take on their psychology, on people's psychology.
Today I want to read this book.
Exactly.
I saw the...
So I've been wanting to read it for a long time actually.
So that's the next one. I have a big pile, but Arunima,
Go ahead.
Shibani can.
Okay, so Japanese fiction.
Arunima has got the most amazing book covers because Japanese में quirky होता है.
By the way, this book I'm reading.
Yeah, we're reading it
too.
together. It was not intentional, but I'd like to start by addressing the elephant in the room, Murakami. Haruki Murakami, often also confused with Ru Murakami, who's also a novelist and a filmmaker. But when it comes to Japanese literature, people tend to think of Murakami only, and I have been kind of branded as the Murakami whisperer or something. I've actually written.
That's a shirt you should sell.
The Murakami whisperer. Probably I will, because I've written so much. I should do that. I've written so much on Murakami since 2015, all thanks to Arunava at Scroll, because I don't know why I was really fascinated by him. Now, of course, the quality of his work has kind of gone down, but people think, which book should you start reading Murakami with? Is it Kafka on the Shore? Is it Norwegian Wood? I would recommend Sputnik Sweetheart, because I think Kafka on the Shore is too high level sometimes. Norwegian Wood is very real, and you want a balance of both, which I think Sputnik Sweetheart covers. It's got the right amount of time travel, magic realism, the weird. Music, not so much. A bit of it, yes. But I think it's a very easy book to read, very slim. It's a novella actually. So I think this was my first Murakami, and I think to kind of get used to his absurdity, you need a bit of absurdity in the first book. This is the book actually that we are reading now at the book club. This is Kigo Higashino, the Devotion of Suspect X, his recent book. It's pretty interesting actually. I've just started reading it. I've not introduced it to the book club yet. And of course, this is a very interesting book, The Kamogawa Food Detectives. It's a father-daughter duo in Kyoto, and they are food detectives. So people come to them asking for a beef stew that they had 55 years ago, and they want them to recreate it. So they actually trace. They go back to the restaurant where the person might have had it, and they kind of do the whole trail where the ingredients were bought, and then they recreate the dish for the client. It's fiction. It's fiction.
It sounds like
fun.
It's really cute.
Interestingly, I just got
very
this book because my niece, she sent me a link saying, Masi, can you get this book? And because she's a foodie, she's very much wanting
I'm
to
actually taking notes of all the food, the dishes and the ingredients, and I just learned yesterday that there's no concept of dessert in Japanese cuisine. They have fruit. Traditionally, they used to serve fruit at the end of the meal, and the dessert concept is very Western, which they didn't have. So,
I think isn't the same in Vietnam that they don't have they usually have fruits.
I didn't eat enough food in Vietnam. So.
Guppy वालों को भी बताना पड़ेगा कि
dessert नहीं होना चाहिए. And this is of course the Honjin Murders, which is the first in the series of the Honkaku books that Pushkin Press. Beautiful covers, like really crazy. To be very honest, anybody who reads it for the first time, it might be a little underwhelming, again, because it was written a long time ago and it's been recreated. But read it and pick it up for the sake of literature, and it's a great collection. There's a box set by Penguin. So
wonderful.
Good to
have.
I
was introduced to this because I had last year or the year before subscribed to the Champaka bookstore crime subscription.
They were doing
so in fact they've started another one. So I got some of these books, some interesting crime fiction through that.
Their curation is very good.
Yeah. So I have this too, and I've read it, and it's
cool.
So, that's it.
We'll go on to
My books are
Shibani.
there.
Yeah.
So my books are not going back to my childhood. They are only books that I'm talking about that I've either read now or I have been introduced in the book club or the community. The intent is that everybody has pretty much read what all of us have read, from the Archies to the Nancy Drews to the P.G. Woodhouse to everything else. My favorite book, and I'm absolutely envious of you, is
I almost got that.
Lessons in Chemistry. Yeah, I have not just loved this book, I have presented it forward, I have gifted it to so many friends of mine. The only thing that I was disappointed about was the series, because when I love books, I just want to keep them here.
I like the series actually.
And
I like it.
No, the fact that they didn't mention 6:30.
I read the book.
They didn't mention
Apple
6:30.
Yeah, they
there's an
will
Apple
eliminate a few
Yeah,
things.
so 6:30 is the key to
But
this.
Brie Larson, I mean,
So I love, and because of this book, I sat through all the 4 sessions of Bonnie Garmus, even if it meant that I was doing a PhD, so be it. I loved her, I love this writing, and I absolutely, so I have a host of books which I haven't got with me. I love autobiographies, and this is one book which I absolutely adored.
I've heard a lot about
because
it.
while Andre Agassi may seem like a star, and he is, his tumultuous journey is something that he's captured here, and you will read and you will be inspired. I would recommend that everybody gets this book.
There should be an episode on only biographies, you know.
Yeah.
And I love
Why not?
Some of the biographies.
And you do know there's a difference between a memoir and an autobiography.
Season 3.
So even the
Season 3.
autobiography that really had an impact on me as a child, one was Helen Keller's, then was Helen Keller's Teachers.
Yeah.
I think her name was Anne Sullivan, and that had such an impact on me, and that was my introduction
Anne Sullivan.
to
Yes,
autobiography.
of course. Some of my books I haven't got today was Oprah Winfrey's, the one that again was a very, very popular book, and I'll come back to that. This is the other book. I know there is a series, and I have dared not watch it because I will not. I have now figured that if I love a book, I will stay away from watching movies and series. I watched Where the Crawdads Sing. I loved the book, but when I went and watched the movie, I was disheartened. So
I never watch.
Because it's someone else's
those series I don't
vision,
watch.
Else's,
So this is another book that I love.
The only one is Harry Potter. That's it.
I agree, though Harry Potter, obviously they missed out on a whole lot of things.
And also Game of Thrones.
The Covenant of Water, again, I'm introducing all my books.
Sorry.
The Covenant of Water, and why I like the Covenant of Water, though it did have its downside, I didn't like all of it, but I found it very, very interesting. It's a slow read, it was a slow read for me, it took me some time. But these are all book advisory recommendations, and which is why I'm talking about it. I loved it. I would love that all of you pick it up. Take your time and read it, and you're sure to enjoy it.
I've already got mine at the cash.
I hope you picked it up from Kunzum. Yes.
So,
okay.
So हमारे viewers की तो मतलब हमारी community की तो sorted है reading list.
This is another one, and I'm telling you all of these because, like I said, I take pride in what we're reading these days, and this is another book which is highly recommended. Yeah, it's a beautiful cover, and it's a fabulous book. Please pick this up for yourself. I'm not going to delve into what it does, what it talks about, because that's what you have to do. Read, please read. Then you can join our talks. Okay, one of the older books that I read by Colleen Hoover is in the book club then, was this. And again, another book, if you haven't read, you must get. Something that I definitely recommend. Okay. Now, this one, Ikigai, who doesn't know Ikigai, but I like this book after I met the author. I picked it up only after I met him because I found his conversation so intriguing that this book then caught my attention. Otherwise, I'm not certain if I'd read it.
There are some
I
parts
believe
which
it
are
started off really slowly, and it's only when I think there was an interview video or something with the authors that it resonated very quickly.
I also want to mention something. While there are many books, I have a host of them. There's Oprah's book and a host of those. But you know, when during the pandemic, and I'm saying this on record, I used to listen to 15 books on Audible per month. And I would only buy the book if the Audible interested me, if the story interested me on Audible. And I figure Elizabeth Gilbert, for example, she's an author I've met during the days that in my erstwhile company, but I figured that there was a lot of her that I enjoyed listening into, and that's when I bought the book. Similarly was Michelle Obama.
Well,
I only bought the book after I heard her. She was fantastic.
I loved the first
Same
half.
thing.
I loved the first half.
It does go
After that, I switched off. But first half.
Did you Audible it?
No,
I audible.
I don't audible.
If you audible, you will know. And you know why I say this? Because everybody is promoting reading and so are we. We
It's
say
in our voice. Na?
Yeah, it's in our voice. Stories I must tell, Kabir Bedi. Thanks to Ajay Jain, I actually got it. That's where I started my journey from.
Kabir Bedi.
Yeah, so so the fact is that books like those were first heard. Yeah, she was with Wesley.
Acha.
So books like those I heard first and then I bought them and now they adorn my
So this is
library.
one book and I just listened to the author. I mean, there was a great panel, S.Y. Qureshi, various other people on the panel. But Yashamukh, I mean, he spoke so well and because he teaches also, I think he just really compressed everything and really pinpointed what the issues were, what things are. So I picked this up after listening to the author live, right?
I think there is a general perception that audiobooks don't work or ebooks don't work, the format in which the book is there. I think I personally love listening to audiobooks when it's been narrated by the author himself or herself,
or a really good.
So please listen
like
to Barack
Stephen
Obama.
Fry, for example.
Listen to Barack Obama. There is a book by which Tom Hanks is reading.
Yeah.
I forget the
I
name
know which
now.
one you're talking about.
I mean, it is
Anne Patchett.
Yes,
the Anne Patchett, right?
yes,
And
absolutely
Stephen Fry
fabulous.
is amazing. Stephen Fry, anything
Barack
Stephen Fry
Obama, I
does.
think you need to increase the speed.
Yeah, you could. No, but you know what I
There's an option
enjoyed.
that you can do 2x.
You can.
But what I enjoyed was the way I have this when you're reading a book, which is why these work, and that's why the movies don't work. Is when you're reading a book, you're in character.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly,
when you were listening, when I was listening to Audible, because there was so much to do during the pandemic with no helpers around. The 15 books, I was very clear. I didn't want to communicate with anybody, and that is when those earplugs would come on. And I can tell you that in every book that I heard, every book, I was in the character, and I just, I was walking, talking until the book finished, and it took me some time to come out of it before I went on to the next one.
So before Audible existed, I downloaded, I don't know if I should say this on camera, I downloaded the Kite Runner audio format, read out by Khalid Hussaini from the torrents.
Everybody has done it at some point.
Okay, and it was so beautiful.
But now there is accessibility.
Now it's accessible. I don't know if it's on Audible because he read it out himself. I think it was Audible US, India, wala nahi tha. And after every chapter, there would be this Shehnai, to indicate that. And it was so beautiful. It transported me to
That's
Afghanistan.
another interesting.
The one
so
Audible
beautiful.
book I wanted to read, which I don't have, which you don't get on Audible India, is Born a Crime, Trevor Noah's. Because I want to listen. I mean, I've read the book, but I want to listen to him
the torrent expert.
narrating.
Please,
no.
listen to
I completely. That's one thing. Anyone who comes to the book club, if they've downloaded a PDF, I'm like, no.
I know.
But you know
it happens in WhatsApp groups.
But what about publishers? So there is an author called Izumi Suzuki. She's a science fiction Japanese author. And I couldn't find her books. They're not available in India anywhere. Bahari, I spoke to them and they had to import it. Verso Books, they sent me the PDFs. Because couriering it from.
But were you writing about it?
I will.
See, there's
but
a
you can't
difference if you're
circulate
sending it to a journalist and all that.
Which I have
Log
been
kar
thinking,
dete
how
na.
do I know?
I'm talking about piracy.
Log circulate kar
But
dete.
have you heard the 40 Rules of Love by Alif Shafaq on Audible?
Not heard.
I'm telling you, I bought the book only after I heard it and then I gifted it. I mean, I buy
This,
books.
by the
You know
way,
that, right?
this
Audible is
is-
going to sponsor
You know,
all
sir, but
the
this is a
sessions.
book I
They please
After
must.
this,
They must.
they should.
Because during the pandemic, it was my lifeline. And I'm telling you now, I won't listen to it because
उनकी
now
free
I
publicity
read.
हुई है, वो पक्का करना चाहिए.
Audible,
We'll tag them.
yeah. So 50 Rules and Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
All his books I heard on Audible.
I can't
Okay,
read
guys,
Paulo
I need
Coelho.
to
Please
conclude
read.
the
You hear
podcast.
Very quickly,
I've
I have to
read
just
final-
tell you,
the only
this
book-
is the one book that
Sad
I have
memory.
gifted again and again and again. Anyone who's interested
Beloved
in
Delhi.
cultural history,
I'm
in Urdu
interested in the
poetry.
gift.
I feel like talking about non-Japanese
just
books now.
beautiful. In fact,
Because I read a lot of
this is the revised
non-Japanese
edition,
books
and he
too.
mentions that
Season
the
3,
Chief Justice
I
of
think
India
The M
also
and the Big
quoted
Home
this.
is one book that I've gifted
Yeah.
a lot.
Okay.
Very
I don't
Yeah,
know
so
why.
this
Yeah.
is, you must get it,
I love
it's
history.
beautiful.
Make people cry.
It looks
You'll
like
read
a
it
gift.
and
Yeah, that makes people cry.
everyone I
They're
have
like, why did you give me this?
Okay,
There
sorry.
is a book that has been recommended.
No,
and
no,
I
I'm
love
saying
history myself.
everyone I've gifted a copy of this book to. And you know, disclaimer is I know Seth, so a lot of them I've got him to sign for friends and all. Everyone who's read it has loved it. This is the revised edition. This one is not signed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get it signed and gifted.
Sure. Seth, please watch this, and please,
Yes.
he's coming here. There's a Shah Jahanabad festival happening this week.
Okay.
So you're definitely very quickly. Richard Osman loved, absolutely loved it because he, no, because he's writing about community, about characters that normally don't get written about. Also, it's a very, you know, I think a classic kind of a whodunit kind of a thing, and then there's this humor which you really have to catch, but it's beautiful. The story is simply written so on. One of the best biographies with different things. Really
This year?
fantastic, busts a lot of this.
Last year, 2023.
No, it came out, 23. It
23.
came out in 23. There's a second volume that's coming out. And this I'd absolutely love because it's a different setting completely. But again, very nicely paced, very warm, cozy kind of, you know, series. So, yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
मैंने तो केवल 2 मिनट के लिए कहा था. आप लोग you went crazy, but
ऐसे ही होगा.
You're the one who lost sleep. We didn't.
No. My favorite segment is this only.
Yeah.
बाकी बातें तो होती रहेंगी. Books की बातें जरूरी है. Anyways, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
This roundtable has exceeded expectation.
This one's
and
signed.
this should reflect in what?
In a great editing.
Great editing. And
this is signed.
if you want to, when this podcast launches,
I met him twice, spent time with him.
Actually, we are taking his time.
just the
talking time.
CTA. So we have a little something from the Himalayas for you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Please.
That's really sweet.
This is for you.
Thank you
Sorry,
very much.
yeah.
Jivisa, and they make great products coming from the Himalayas. So
Thank you.
we
Thank you
thought-
very much.
Last time हम लोग कुछ और लाए थे Himalayas से, but वो इस बार नहीं ला पाए. इस बार भी और भी amazing लाया.
Thank you so much. Thank you. How nice.
Do check it out.
I have
and
to
let us
carry
know.
this back also.
Oh yeah.
Guys, I hope you loved this conversation. It's a new format. Do let us know in the comments that whether you liked the format or not, whether you liked our amazing community creators. Leave your feedback also in the comments, and when this podcast launches, it will be on podcast.booknerds.in. Of course, we need to thank our collaborators Kunzum and Jivisa who have been with us all this while for this podcast. And of course, YouTube पे launch होगा. Go to the YouTube channel. It's at Booknerds. Subscribe and press the bell icon for all future alerts.
And if you've liked it, you don't forget to share forward.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yes.
Also,
Happy
thank
reading.
you.
Happy
Also
Yes.
follow Dokusha Book Club.
Oh, of course.
Also,
handles,
yes.
handles please.
We are only on Instagram. So
Instagram handle बताओ.
Dokusha Book Club.
Yes, simple.
Yeah.
At
What's your handle?
Windword Consult.
Windword Consult.
It's WORD Windword
Cool.
Consult.
We leave it in the
Yes, absolutely.
And Gurgaon Moms Book Club. It's called the book club, but it's the books community. Please come, join more of this book club, and come for all the events that we host for you.
And Dokusha actually means a reader in Japanese, which is why Dokusha. Just
Great
clarifying.
fact.
And anyone
Remember that.
Fun
and
fact.
anyone wants to start a silent book club in their city, please DM us. We'll help you.
And they're usually
connect
found
with-
देहरादून में तो
Sundar
collaborate
Nursery.
कर ही रहे हैं
Yeah.
हम लोग. We have talked about this
Yeah.
earlier also. We are going to
Yeah.
collaborate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here, and until next time, happy reading.
Yes,
Happy reading.
Happy reading.